Are you familiar with the stages of grief? Right? You guys familiar with the stages of grief? There's 5 stages of grief. There's the first stage of grief is denial. Then there's anger. Then there's depression. Then there's bargaining. Then there's acceptance. That's the 5. That's the 5. Cam Newton was cut. It's the second time he's been released in his career. This time, of course, kind of a healthy scratch, if you will. And he had a long post. Was it like 75 minutes long? Yeah. And he was on his YouTube show, Freaky Friday, sitting down with his dad. He said this about Mac Jones.
But let me say this, though, because it's giving me, like, retirement vibes. Like, this ain't that, you know what I mean? This is.
So let's cut the chase.
Like, I know we know.
Your career is not over.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so he says my career is not over. He said this about being told by the Patriots he was getting cut.
Matt, Patricia was there, Bill was there, and we greeted each other and we just started talking. And at that time, they told me that they were going to, give the reins to Matt. And I was like, okay, cool, da-da-da-da. And it didn't dawn on me that I was like, y'all.
This is it.
Y'all releasing me? You know what I mean?
Did you ask or you just sat there?
I was confused because, Bill was, we all were shocked.
Here's why he thinks he was released.
The reason why they released me is because indirectly I was going to be a distraction.
Without being a starter.
Without being a starter.
Yeah.
And this was
but
not
how? Verbally or in the locker room?
Just my aura.
Okay.
Just my aura. And that's just, and I told you this off camera, that's my gift and my curse.
That's my gift and my curse is my aura. And I do think there's some truth to it. Here was his take on being a backup and how it would have impacted.
The truth of the matter is this. He would have been uncomfortable. You have to understand.
You are an intimidating presence now.
That is true.
Yeah.
And it comes by mere fact of me being me. Like when you would see a practice clip of me dancing or them playing music, man, if you put a hidden camera of me in my kitchen and you play some music, I'm still going to be bobbing my head, listening to the music in the car. That's just how I get myself going. Mac Jones didn't beat me out. But I would have been a distraction knowing that if they would have gave him the starting role, they knew, the perception that they would have had.
Okay. That's denial. Okay. Look, at some point he'll get to acceptance. It might be in 20 years. Okay. Mac Jones did beat him out. He didn't beat out Cam Newton, MVP Cam Newton. He didn't beat out MVP, first overall pick Cam Newton. He beat out Cam Newton. They felt like Mac Jones gave them the best opportunity to win. And this whole idea of him being a distraction while being a distraction. I would have been distracted, not because of your aura, because you can't even accept the fact that you got beaten out. And you have a YouTube show called Freaky Friday. And because you are, in fact, a distraction. There's no doubt in my mind that Cam Newton could be a backup for 10 more years in this league. And we've said this before. This was the problem with, and I know they're completely dissimilar in terms of personality types. Cam is gregarious. Colin Kaepernick, this was his problem. Colin, if you remember, the one team he visited after the Niners cut him was the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm sure Russell Wilson didn't want him there because it was a bit of a distraction. But the big thing was he wanted to be a starter. Everybody wants to be a starter, but it's how you present yourself. Cam Newton presented himself as, look, I'm just going to be a backup. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to enjoy the process. If they want me to play, if Mac needs to sit for a while, whatever, then I'll stay. It's not your aura. It's you. And you know what you're doing with these comments? You're actually giving more fuel to the fire of your career might be over because you're not actually good enough to be a starter and you're too full of yourself to be a backup. The job of the backup quarterback is to be seen, not heard. The job of the backup quarterback is to do one thing and one thing only. Every week, get the starter ready. His ego is so out of control, like he doesn't even know. Bro, you didn't throw for 100 yards 4 times last year. 100 yards. This is the second team that cut you. Ron Rivera, who you took to the Super Bowl, he traded for your backup, Kyle Allen. Cam's like, he didn't beat me out. Yeah, that's going to do wonders. Wonders for your image in the league. Oh, man, they're lining up to come get you. He didn't beat me out. It's my aura. And I'm not denying that Cam Newton, he blocks out the sun. He's a gigantic human being with a huge smile, and guys do, in fact, like him. But if he wants to be a backup quarterback, I'm not going to do the YouTube post. If I do, it'll just be fun, just talking about other stuff, not about football. And I'm just going to get Mac Jones ready every week. He chose not to do so. It just I mean, he's the guy who's like, man, there was a big fire that I put out. Well, how'd the fire start? Well, I started it, but I put out that fire. That's who he is. And I'm not disrespecting Cam in terms of what he's accomplished and how people feel about him in the league, but if you're not humbled by being cut twice, the team you took to the Super Bowl, and then the Patriots, when you have Mac Jones as your backup, and nothing's going to humble you. Clearly doesn't know or want to be a backup, and the starting jobs are limited in terms of people who think he could do it.